to get this into a good view. Hi. This is a Pinterest recipe I'm going to try and make. So it's chicken parm casserole. Oh, I have everything but my Parmesan cheese. As I make lovely giant noises. Okay, so if you want to look at the recipe, it is pinned down in the bottom in the description, or you can pause and take note of my notes that I made, because I kind of shorthand it for myself, because for me, a lot of recipes tend to be just way too long and very, very wordy, and I feel like I know enough about cooking that I don't need very long, wordy things unless I'm doing something or trying something I've never done before, so. Alright. So let's get cooking. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm starting off by making the breadcrumb topping that's supposed to act kind of like the nice crispy crust on the outside of the chicken when you're cooking it. So it's just the panko breadcrumbs, some olive oil, and then the recipe called for fresh spices, but I had dried on, or herbs. I had dried on hand. I ended up doubling it in the end because I really like the taste of herbs and things. I like flavor, so more than just like, you know, bread and fat, which is still delicious, but I like the others. So I used parsley, basil, oregano, and thyme. I used about twice as much parsley as anything else. It's really mild and it works really, really well with pretty much everything. My daughter really, really wanted me, so I tried figuring out a solution. She wasn't happy about it at first, but put her in her high chair so she'd be next to me, and I gave her some snacks to hopefully keep her occupied so I could finish what I was doing. Next up, I took some extra chicken that I had baked in the oven. Normally, I absolutely hate working with whole chicken breasts because to me they're too thick. They don't cook properly. If you cook it all the way through, it tends to get really, really dry. But since it was cold, I just ended up cubing it instead of shredding it. But from what I remember from the recipe and what was written on my notes, it was cubed or shredded. Cubed and shredded didn't really matter to me, so I just chunked it up into 1/2 to 3/4 inch chunks, something like that. Whatever size you like is appropriate. If you do get the opportunity to shred it while it's hot, the easiest way I have found is if you either have a stand mixer or a hand mixer. The paddle attachments work really, really well at shredding up hot chicken. So next up is I'm just pouring over a jar of Walmart brand pasta sauce. It was pretty cheap and, you know, really, really big jar of it. It was, I believe it was 2 ounces shy of what the recipe called for, but I don't really think it made much of a difference, to be honest. It still covered everything beautifully, and in the end, you'll notice that this thing ended up really, really full. I probably could have cut back on some of the cheese, and I was thinking I should have mixed the cheese in, or at least some of it, in with the pasta sauce. But I wanted to follow the recipe to, you know, based on my notes anyway. I was initially planning on having just a huge group of recipes that I could try and do as freezer meals. This is supposed to be a freezer meal, I believe, where you could stick it in the freezer and you kind of just bake it like you do the store-bought lasagnas, like an hour and a half in the oven with the cover on it, and then 30 minutes uncovered in a 350 or 400 degree oven, kind of whatever you choose. I haven't really noticed too much of a difference. And then now I'm just trying to the best of my ability, spreading the crumb topping all over everything. I'm kind of patting it down so it doesn't fly around everywhere. And I already put the Parmesan and mozzarella cheese on the top. So After that, I go off and I do something. I don't know what it is, but that's what it looks like all finished. So, looks pretty simple. And now I'm using a foil sheet and just writing what it is and the baking instructions, since all I'm doing is sticking it in the fridge because I'm going to make it for dinner and I'm not going to actually freeze it. So, there you have it. Alright. Looks pretty decent. Lily wants to have nothing to do with it, which is not surprising because she's a toddler. But I'm giving it still pretty good. I was kind of impressed. So let's see. It's not bad, actually. I would definitely cook the chicken in a slow cooker if you have the opportunity. That way you get some much more tender chicken. But it's not bad. I think the type of sauce you use makes a big difference too. And I definitely would mix cheese in with the sauce so it becomes this nice gooey concoction. But it's a lot better than the last one. Yeah, all she wants is cookies. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Mama.
What, you want me to feed it to you?
No.
Are you sure about that?
The steamed zucchini and squash is really good too.
Okay, I'll put it down. Is that okay? You want it back?
No.
So yeah.
What do you need, little one? You want a bite of my dinner? Bite?
The only thing I can say
Chicken.
No.
is that if you put it in the fridge first before you bake it an extra 10 minutes. After sitting there for about 5, maybe 10 minutes tops, it's not as
Whoa,
hot.
careful.
And there's some
You want down?
cheese.
Okay, one down.
But the crumb crush is really good. The herbs I used work really, really well. So does the quantity. The quantity works really well too. Yeah, I'm not complaining about it.
Yep.
It's pretty decent. It is definitely a very good starting point. So, yeah, not bad. I would definitely make this again with my own spin on it.